Well, hello peeps. Here we have a nice little Sunday morning and we're gonna be going over the SV Hunter on the beta. And we're gonna be doing this a little bit differently than usual. We're not gonna go over every single detail, and I got some arena gameplay ready for you. But we're just gonna play throughout the video, or we're gonna play it at the end, depending on how it goes. Realistically, it's more how I edit it. Now, as far as SV is considered, I have really done quite a bit of testing. Arenas with just both hero specs, arenas with haste mastery, arenas with crit mastery, arenas with haste crit. Like, I've just tested it out completely and I really feel confident in giving you my thoughts on this. Now, speaking in a general sense, SV and Hunters just in general look really amazing going into the War Within. They have just gotten so many improvements in both talents, like spec talents, class talents, PvP talents. They've gotten improvements as far as their survivability is considered. They have increased utility. It is just an amazing spot that I think Hunters are going to be in. Right now, there is some things that are overtuned. Obviously, it's still the beta. And I think in the pre-patch, some things might be problematic. But thankfully, in the pre-patch, we are don't have the access to hero talents. Or maybe that's not even thankfully, like we would actually get to have a more balanced situation, I think, with hero talents if we actually got to test it out in the pre-patch, to have like the masses tested out. Now, on the Hunter side of things, things really look amazing. The main improvements come in the form of defenses being improved and, of course, utility being added on a class that's already like pumped up with utility, generally speaking. So just a really good stuff for the Hunter. This would be like the main, I would say, positive changes are in this like sector here. We now have 2 charges of survival of the fittest. We also have a reduction on the cooldown of survival of the fittest, while it also increases the duration of it. So just absolutely amazing defensive talents here. Well, the only thing that I will criticize is these DPS talents feel very strong. 10% on Wildfire Bomb damage and 8% on explosive shot. So they kind of a must-take and kind of something that I don't like design-wise, but counting that Hunter just is not like hero spec, sorry, not hero spec, but a talent tree that is like really focused or like bothered with these like DPS talents. So it's not like a huge issue, but definitely right, like a talent you just can't skip. Like, you're definitely going special as the Arsenal, even if you're like going for a build that doesn't really do Wildfire Bomb damage. It's still 10% is a huge modifier. Same with this, 8% is just a very big modifier, so these are talents that you're just not gonna be able to skip. Then we also have just the increased utility, like Binding Shot, Scatter Shot are 2 different abilities now. You have Bursting Shot as well. That's just gonna be absolutely insane as far as just the utility is considered. You have Binding Shot, the stun duration being increased by 1 second talent here. Another talent that lets you reduce the cooldown of Intimidation and Binding Shot, so your CC or your stuns are gonna be available just a lot more. This is not really huge, like 0.5 seconds. It was like a second. I feel like maybe it could use a buff, but because I just don't feel like you cast that many bombs. Maybe for survival it's just a little bit scuffed, but in general it just lets you have your stuns earlier, so really good. Insane amount of added utility with having high explosive trap. Roar of Sacrifice is also here, but like having high explosive trap affect Binding Shackles, and Binding Shackles now, right, you having Scatter Shot and Binding Shot, like it just makes Binding Shackles an insanely defensive strong talent for defense, just absolutely insane. But as you can see, just generally speaking, really amazing talents. This was even like a very broken talent which would just let you cast Intimidation without a pet, basically making it 40 range 5-second stun with, like, you know, no counterplay. So there was some insane things they were testing with the Hunter, which I also feel like is a very, I must say, kudos to the developer for actually like taking risks of making stuff that is like broken and then, you know, actually reverting it still, like not being worried, okay, are people gonna like this too much so we can't remove it? No, right, okay, this is OP, we remove this. And yeah, guys, like the Hunter side of things is just absolutely amazing. Like, more utility, more defense. I like how you do not really bog down with like deep, DPS talents. You still have quite a bit of DPS talent, just doesn't feel like you're bogged down, and some of them are kind of like, how to say, anti my design ideas. Like, I don't like these kind of like huge modifiers. Sure, they're in the middle of the tree, sure, you're gonna pick it up very easily, but it's still something that you're gonna be forced to basically pick up. Now we can move into the hero talents, and Must say both are looking really amazing right now, even though there is one that is preferred. But before I let you continue on with the video, I do have to inform you that only 4.3% of you subscribed. So if you've been enjoying the content, please consider smashing that subscribe button. And that's gonna be Pack Leader. Now, Pack Leader right now is just broken because of this talent, then recovery. This will just heal you an insane amount of HP. Like, this talent is just broken right now. There's not much to say. Definitely something they need to take a look at, because basically hunters are able to, with this talent alone, heal like 9 million HP, which is you have like 7 million HP pool, so this is like over 100, you know, like 120% of your HP. Like, it is right now overtuned. I don't know if it's bugged additionally, so it's healing like just this much, but something, yeah, about this talent is a little bit too much. I would say the baseline talent is just overtuned. Like, the broken part, it really is 20% of HP over 4 seconds. Like, I don't think any other hero spec has anything that's near as defensive as this, including the Hunter hero specs. Sentinel has actually a really good talent as well for defense. For my testing, it really also like helps a lot, but just nothing compares to the instantaneous effect of then recovery and just how you say, no, not easy to use, but just how much it actually heals you. Because, you know, you have versatility adding onto it, and I think it's also maybe slightly broken, like, how do you say, overtuned. Like, you maybe don't see it on the tooltip, but does not feel like it's healing, like, let's say 40% of HP in like 2 casts. Yeah, it's healing way much more than that, even without me using all of my survival of the fittest, and like just using one survival of the fittest and one how do you say, turtle, right, aspect of the turtle. It just heals you like a full amount of HP. It is absolutely insane, especially when you add on to it that exhilaration has been buffed and just kind of increased. So just hunters get to reset their HP like 2 times in an arena by themselves, by the way. Like, this is, the hunter gets to do this by themselves without like, yeah, help from another teammate. Other than that, I think it's also just a fun generally tree. It definitely works more with your pets or with your pet, and just kind of rotating kill command in, and having your pet actually like auto-attacking, hitting the target, right, is very important because of talents like this that increase your crit damage, right? So just a very good talent, how do you say, hero spec overall, and I like how it generally plays. Definitely makes you kind of want to kind of weave in attacks with kill command more, so definitely feels, I would say, very fluid and nice in that regard. For my testing again in PvP, like, then recovery just OP. I don't feel like it has any kind of damage-wise, how do you say, a component that really makes you like, oh my god, I want to play this. This is doing so much damage, right? This is like a nice way of doing damage. Doesn't really have that component, but yeah, then recovery, as it's right now, is like the main selling point of this hero spec, and definitely like makes hunters one of the tankiest specs, on top of the fact that they're also the like one of the specs that they can just heal themselves the most. Like, honestly, the most healing DPS spec right now, like with then recovery. Moving on into Sentinel, and Sentinel is also freaking amazing. It is the one that's like more touted for as like a mythic plus one, but I think it's also amazing. It has a really good defensive talent, Don't Look Back. Each time Sentinel deals damage to an enemy, you gain an absorb shield equal to 1% of your max HP, up to 10%. Since Sentinel is very often doing its damage, this will, how would you say, do quite a bit of shielding throughout the match. Cannot match up to then recovery, but I don't think that's the fault of this talent. It's more fault of then recovery just being absolutely freaking overtuned and broken right now. But it's still a really good defensive talent, on top of the fact that this Sentinel tree actually has really good damage components with the Sentinel kind of stacking thing, and also with the Lunar Storm that casts off basically every 15 seconds on your Wildfire Bomb, but pretty much also has like 100% uptime, because like the debuff on the target is like 8 seconds, so you can even track it without like a weak aura, right? If the debuff is like falling off the target, it's pretty much at the point where you should be Wildfire or you're bombing again to get the Lunar Storm, which just does an insane amount of damage. If the people like, it's a little bit hard to sometimes get people to kind of sit in it, but like people trying to jump on you, this is gonna be like no problem. You can just sit in your own Lunar Storm, and if the melee wants to attack you, they're gonna have to get in. So basically no crazy defensive component as then recovery, but just a lot more damage, I feel like, with the Sentinel and the Lunar Storm, especially burst wise. Like, Lunar Storm increases your damage, like it has a damage amplification part, and it also deals an insane amount of damage. So it definitely has more burst and more consistent burst, and just more, I feel like more damage overall than Pack Leader right now. Like, it definitely feels like this is the more damaging one, especially in PvP, like for my testing. And I've tested the Sentinel mainly with the crit builds, and just freaking, yeah, you're gonna rock. Every global feels absolutely amazing. Again, no selling point like then recovery, but the damage I feel like is just greater, and if you want to play a more damaging hero spec, Sentinel is definitely there for you. Now let's take a look at the tier set. I think it's pretty cool. First, the 2 set Wildfire Bomb damage is just increased by 5%, and Raptor Strike deals 10% increased damage to targets afflicted by Wildfire Bomb. I feel like it's gonna feel very fluid to, you know, bump, and then, you know, start doing your Raptor Strike or Mungo's Bite, right, spam, and it's gonna feel, I think, very good. I also want to talk right now about the new mastery. I'm kind of, how would you say, have split thoughts on it. So first of all, they are trying to make, how would you say, the mastery be the thing that differentiates your tankiness compared to the tankiness of the other hunters. I think that is nice. I just, how would you say, I don't like the fact that this 3% damage reduction is something that doesn't like get affected by mastery itself, right? Like, you can't really increase this 3%, right? It's kind of just a baseline thing. Maybe design-wise, ultimately, it's gonna be better, so you're not like forced into playing mastery when you're squishy, right, or something like that. But I just don't like having a mastery that doesn't like get increased by mastery, right? I also think the actual mastery component might be like a little bit too insane. Like the fact that this gets increased by 100% when you're like within your 25 yards of your pet feels a little bit crazy, because like the mastery scale is pretty good. Like this is 33%, with me mainly being statted into mastery, which then is increased to 66%, right, if I'm next to my pet, from my understanding. So I don't know, it feels kind of insane. It also feels just it also, I must say, feels better though, like as far as just the mastery that increases all of your damage, not being like, okay, mastery increases focus damage, but then you know, Wildfire Bomb doesn't cost focus. You know, now it costs focus though, like, I don't know, kind of weird though that they went for this change while also changing Wildfire Bomb and some other ones, right, to actually cost focus. Kind of weird, but it's gonna still affect your entire kit instead of just affecting a part of your kit, right? It's gonna affect every source of damage. Moving into the hunter side of things, and the first thing I want to say is really kudos again to the hunter developer for just trying things out and being willing to try these things out. Specifically, at one point they were trying to make flanking strike basically be something on top of your kill command, right? So you'd like get 3 resets, if I remember correctly, and then you'd get flanking strike instead of your kill command. Of course, makes some kind of, how do you say, makes a little bit of awkwardness when you play, but I just like the fact that they were willing to risk it and try things like this. Like, I really give kudos to the survival developer and just hunter developers for willing to take risks to make new stuff like happen. Like, that is to me really cool, even though like ultimately, right, it doesn't interact properly, right, with how you want to play. So ultimately it wasn't added into the game, but it just feels like a very, how do you say, really cool ideas that they were like willing to test out. And that first thing I want to talk about is we don't have Serpent Sting. Serpent Sting is now just automatically applied with a Raptor Strike. Some people might be happy about this, some might not be happy about this. I definitely feel like we don't have like an ability to cast from range other than kill command anymore, right? But generally speaking, just something that makes us less button bloaty. The best and the most interesting talents are things like this, like throw for line pockets. Every time you get a third quick shot, your third quick shot is gonna be an explosive shot. Every Wildfire Bomb has 25% chance to do an explosive shot on your target. And explosive shots reduce the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb by 2 seconds. And then we also have a very cool talent here, Bombardier, which after coordinated assault ends, you get 2 free explosive shots, free and just no cooldown, right? That you can cast off, which basically ends up being 3 explosive shots, right? Since your cooldown usually is like coming back by that time. But yeah, it's just really cool how they went for this like bombing playstyle, and I really must say I just like the thematics and just the cool, how do you say, ideas, right, of just like new talents. Like definitely like a big kudos to the developers. They've also done a very good job at like making Mungus just not be like TPT top of our damage. Sure, it's top of your damage even now, I think, like if you are playing like a Mungus style more build, but it just doesn't feel like it's 40% of your damage, 30% of your damage. Like all of your damage is just in this one ability. That just felt weird, right, in PvP, because in PvP, especially in Dragonflight, you're not gonna be playing like a melee spec. Now you can with the new hero talents and with all the kind of changes and having just 6% damage reduction, how you say, baseline compared to the other hunters. I definitely feel like you can play a lot more melee style. Spearhead has also gotten a cool change. Is now like a critical strike chance cooldown. I also like the fact that it's like just a 1 minute cooldown with like the capstone here, and the capstone just increases the critical damage you do during the window, so it just makes it a very nice crit cooldown. And at 1 minute, this is like really perfect for PvP. We also have another additional like 2 capstones here that are new, like one that reduces the coordinated assault cooldown to 1 minute and lets you, like when you cast coordinated assault, you get 3 stacks of tip of the spear, so you're like ready to burst. The other one is instead of reducing the cooldown, it makes it a stronger cooldown, giving it 10% haste and making the tip of the spear damage bonus increase by 50%, which might be better with crit build, since how do you say, crit actually increases the damage of the tip of the spear. Alright, so definitely something that's gonna be better with crit builds, but just, man, cool changes. You also have a Bloody Claws, interesting talent here, which increases the window of your Mungus Fury by 1.5 seconds every time you do a kill command, so it actually makes your, how do you say, the Mungus Bite windows feel a lot better, and especially makes you feel a lot better whenever you're, you know, doing like a kill command, and then you do like a Wildfire Bomb instead of going for a Mungus Bite. Just those moments feel a lot better when you have this talent. I'm not running it right now because I just feel like Raptor Strike, for a kind of a build that I've been kind of playing, or the way I've been playing with bombs mainly and like explosive shot, you just don't need it. You do more damage straight up with the Raptor Strike when you actually cast it out, and because you're just mainly going to be upgrading, how do you say, when you do kill command, right, and you get your tip of the spear, you're mainly going to be using that on your Wildfire Bombs, so it just doesn't, how do you say, doesn't make sense in the build that I've been kind of testing out and playing with. Doesn't make sense in a Bombardier build, right? Like, and that's it, guys. On the Hunter side of things, it's just amazing changes. They've made the Hunter into SV Hunter into a Bombardier Hunter. I like that thematics, I really do. I also like the fact that we can actually not play Mungus Fury, I feel like, sorry, Mungus Bite, and just I actually enjoy not having to look at and pay attention to that window. I like it a lot more with just being able to kind of rotate my bombs and rotate my kill commands into, you know, Raptor Strike. But just might be a personal thing, right? But absolutely amazing, and as I said, kudos to the developer for just being willing to try out new things, and also just making, I think, a very cool fantasy, like kind of additional, not additional fantasy, but like rechanging the fantasy into feeling something that really feels survival hunter-ish. And that is gonna be my PvP overview on the WoW 18 beta of the Survival Hunter. If you're interested for more of these PvP overviews, I have some of them on the channel. I'm gonna put the links up and whatever. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things YouTubers want you to do, and have a nice day.